How's it going, everybody? Gabriel, Santiago here. So this is the Speaking of Harmony podcast, and this is episode 48. Nice, beautiful day here in Texas. Happy Sunday, everybody. And today's subject is my favorite non-harmonic tone. So there you go. Before we do that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the little bell thing notifications. This is all my social media stuff. Don't forget to hit the like button. It helps a lot with the video. And also don't forget to sign up for the mailing list. The link is here in the video description. Alright, you see me playing this stuff. I just came up with this little improvised thing, but it's there. My favorite non-harmonic tones, the appoggiatura. That's the one we're going to be talking about today. And man, so much you can do with that. Like there's a long video that could be made just about appoggiaturas, right? That's one that I had touched on before in past episodes, especially when I was talking about the diminished appoggiatura chord, right? I will link in the card over here that episode so you can check it out. But what is an appoggiatura, right? An appoggiatura is a non-harmonic tone. And what is it about? What does it do? Well, it's a note that doesn't belong to the chord that is then attacked on the strong beat and then resolved either downwards and upwards, right? The difference from, let's say, the ones that we covered already, the neighbor tone and the passing tone, is that the appoggiatura is not in the weak, very quote-unquote, the weak beat or the weak part of the beat, right? Usually the other ones, you start with something from the chord and then use that note, the non-harmonic tone, and then resolve either, given the, particularities of each one. But the appoggiatura is right there, starts attacking the strong beat and then resolving, right? Either on up or down, whatever, right? So I'll give you an example. The neighbor tone, where something that we talked about is stuff that revolves around one note, right? You go C, D, C, or C, B, C, right? It goes back to where it was. And the passing tone we talked about, right? You have, right? So it goes from a note from the chord, then attack the note, and then resolve on a different note, but also from the chord. The appoggiatura starts on a note that is not from the chord. So for instance, on this particular C major example, I'll do, right? 3, 4, right? So I attack the D note that's not supposed to be in the chord, C major triad, and that note is attacked on the strong beat and then resolved back, in this case down, into a note from the chord, right? So that's the appoggiatura, right? So it just kind of gives you so many options to create all these melodic, interesting materials, right? That you can just kind of play around this attack and resolution, like attacking these notes that doesn't belong to the chord and then resolve that. So that's what I did in my example, right? I start like, so considering that this is supposed to be a E minor 7 or something, right? So F sharp with the 9th, right? So now the 9th is resolving down into the root, right? Then the 4th, the suspended 4th, resolving into the 3rd, right? In this case, I even doing a pair, a 3rd, right? So I'm using 9, flat 9, right? And then, so here I did a D major 7, right? But I did the second version, so A is in the bass, right? So I did, then B minor 7, then the 9th would be the appoggiatura, again the 11th, A resolving to G, right? Then 13 resolving to the 5th or 6th, however you want to call. Also supported by the 4th, the suspended 4th, so a pair 6. See this inner voicing, hashtag voice leading all the way, and then see 6, 6, 13 resolving the 5th, and then like A flat, half diminished, or G sharp, whatever you wanna call it. So flat 6 or sharp 5, whatever you wanna call it, resolving back into the flat 5th of the half diminished chord, right? 6, resolving the 5th, 7 major 7, resolving the 6, later flat 13, resolving the flat 5, and then I did. So E half diminished, 11 resolved into the 3rd, and I did a 3rd pair, so I can slide that. I talked about that in previous episodes as well. I talked about the César Camargo Mariano does this a lot. That little descending gesture. So, and then I kind of pimped up the chord. So 7, flat 9, sharp 11, 13. So then I did sharp 11, resolving the 3rd, 13, resolving the 5th, and then I resolved the 11 into the 3rd, right? So that's kind of how that happened in terms of appoggiaturas, a bunch of appoggiaturas, right? And I try to only use that on this example. So that can kind of set you with like so many possibilities of color and melodic materials and fragments that you can then utilize and do variations and stuff like that. It's fun. So see, again, all appoggiaturas. Awesome, right? I love it. The other thing I talked about in the episode that I'm gonna bring it back here is that the same idea that you do with the notes, right? The appoggiatura will be like a note or maybe a double thing. I'm doubling that note with a 6 or a 3rd, whatever. I can do an entire chord acting as an appoggiatura, right? And I show in that episode that you can use, I particularly use the diminished one, right? The diminished, like the same root, but then doing a diminished chord, then resolving into the chord that I'm supposed to do, right? Let's say if I'm in G major, right, I can do, let's say, right? So that's G diminished, right? You expect to resolve in G major, so I resolve into G diminished, and then resolving the chord I'm supposed to resolve, right? So, and on this particular example I can use a major 7, like a really upper structure, or a 9, and then resolve the 3rd or back into the root. But you see the idea is to attack an entire chord and resolve whatever you are, right? So it's sort of like an expansion of the idea, like I did with the passing tone, right? I did chord, like a passing chord. Here is the entire appoggiatura chord, and I personally use the diminished a lot when I'm supposed to resolve into a place. I resolve the diminished. You know, some famous songs that have that kind of thing. You know, when you do Rosa, it's a great Dorival kind of one. Go. See? F diminished, resolving to F major, and the song, right? Another one of the famous Corcovado, right? F diminished, resolving into F major, right? Basically the same chord, right? So that's something you can use But you can use different chords, not only the diminished. The diminished just one that is like happens a lot, but you can kind of force the chord, whatever kind of chord, to act as appoggiatura, as long as you have this movement of resolving, right? One that is super common is the sus4 chord, right? Resolving the suspended 4 into the third. Very, very common, right? So you can do, especially on like dominant chords, it's super common. We do that a lot, all the time, and without realizing we actually doing appoggiatura chords, right? Sometimes. So you do, say just a random A major, right? Resolving the suspended 4 into the third, right? And I can even, as I'm putting the 9th here, I can do, right? So a third pair here. See, nice resolution. So, right? I can also do, E, but over here, right? So it's 4, 9, right? And 13. 13 resolving into the 5th. 4th resolving into the 3rd, right? And I can do like a triple thing. So it will be the 4th, suspended 4th, the 13th, and the 9th moving, right? The 13th stays, right? So I have this pair of 6, 9 resolving into the flat 9, and the suspended 4 resolving to the 3rd, and this 13 kind of sustaining the thing. Or I can resolve the 13 too. So, alright. So the full chord will be. See? So I use 3 notes. Right? It's a full chord resolving into a full chord because 3 notes are moving. The suspended 4 resolving the 3rd, the 9 resolving to the flat 9, and the 13 resolving the 5th, right? I can resolve the 13 to the flat 13. See? Or I can keep that over there. Right? See? Using the diminish one here. I resolve into A, but not A major as you expect. I resolve into another appoggiatura chord, the A diminished, like, and so on I did. See? Stuff like that you can do, like, you can do this, all these movements you have with, very common with bossa nova and Brazilian stuff, Brazilian music, like 13, flat 13 sounds, or 13 fifth, like this kind of thing. Right? You can do that with the 9s together, like, what is very common is B dominant chord, but I have B7, 13, flat 9, right? So B7, flat 9, 13. 13 being an appoggiatura resolving into the sharp 5, right? Or flat 13, however you want to call it. And the flat 9 resolving into the root, right? So it's either I resolve not appoggiatura, a chord, right? So a minor 9/11 chord resolving to E minor. Just using this concept of appoggiaturas. So much you can do, man. So much you can do. I really love the appoggiaturas, and the amount of possibilities that it gives us, and when you combine with the other ones, in next episodes we're gonna kind of wrap them up into one thing and try to use them all, right? But this is the appoggiatura, right? It's super useful, and it's a great asset to have, you know, when you're harmonizing stuff or when you're accompanying something else, either a melody played by someone or a singer. It gives us many tools to comment and to come up with some, you know, counter melodies and stuff like that, right? I really like it and use all the time, combined with the chord concept of like not using the appoggiatura as one note, but also full chord, right? So I can do another one that I forgot is like this super intricate tense like chord that Toninho Horta uses a lot. So when I'm doing abdominal, let's say, going to like B7, going to E minor, right? I can do. See? It's again an appoggiatura chord. I'm just like boom, it's the downbeat, and then resolving, you know, down to the chord. So this would be. Right? You can listen to Beijo, Partido, Broken Kiss by Toninho Horta. It's a great example of that. He used that chord there. It's beautiful. I'm gonna link in the comments as well. Broken Kiss. You probably know that one, but if you haven't, listen to that song because it's amazing. But he does his things, right? Supposed to go B, is a B7 going to E minor, but then he throw that appoggiatura chord in and then resolve. So beautiful, masterfully done. That's another one you can use, but you got the idea, right? So appoggiaturas are great. I love using them, and they kind of inspire me in so many ways, you know, to do different harmonic paths, you know, the harmonic progressions and stuff like that. It just inspires you to do other stuff, and you can do that on one note, either in the top note or like in the middle. For instance, can go like, you know, like so many possibilities. So do you use appoggiaturas when you play? Please leave in the comments and let me know what you use in terms of appoggiaturas and what kind of, you know, solutions you have already. And let me know in the comments what you think, what you want me to talk about also next in comments and stuff. I really love the feedback, right? Before I go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the little bell with the notifications. This is all my social media stuff. And don't forget to subscribe to the mailing list. And I see you in the next episode. Thank you.